lost their lives almost a year back. May their souls rest in peace. خداوند همه‌شان شهادتشان قبول بکنه. My condolences, sympathies to their families, students, professors in American AUAF. I also learned through Dr. Holland that through private donation, a memorial will be dedicated to those who have lost their lives. Most of you know this pain all too well. This campus was savagely attacked almost a year ago, as we lost 15 of our best, 13 of our best, and one from member of the security sector included. Many others were injured, but you are a testament and a symbol of our nation's resolve not to be intimidated, not broken by terrorists and those who sponsor them. We grieve together and share the pain, but we will stand firm as a nation against evil, whatever called. Talib, Daesh, Al-Qaeda, or other. And against those circles inside and outside Afghanistan who are responsible for massacres and grave human rights violations. The tragedy of 5 days ago in Sarapul province, where many innocent civilians, men, women, and children lost their lives. That's a reminder of the fact how savage these terrorists are. They don't know any boundaries, and at the same time, our nation stood united in support of the victims and their families. As we speak, your brave brothers and sisters in the security forces are fighting on numerous fronts, day to day, and what is necessary to prevent the enemy from gaining ground or silence us from our work to rebuild this country. Those forces, they need our support as well as the backing provided by our international friends. To waver nor to be distracted. Dear friends, I'm honored to be here with you to have a friendly chat. And earlier we celebrated with you together contribution of private sector in support of scholarships in other activities of American University of Afghanistan. Every scholarship that is funded either by private sector, foreign or domestic or individual contributors is an investment in human capital and for a better future for our country. I entered Afghanistan's public-run higher education system at a time that the world was bipolar. In the world, globalization did not exist. And our country was experiencing a different kind of political turmoil that preceded the Soviet military invasion and the start of jihad, resistance, and displacement. A lot has changed since then. If you see me a little bit exhausted, we played a little bit ping pong outside, yes?
Very good.
With one of the students. As you know, back then, since the system was solely public, there was no private. There wasn't any place for private sector in education. It was a different world. And the only scholarships were either governmental or the one offered by the foreign governments. Since the Soviets had invaded Afghanistan, then the scholarships provided by the government were by the Soviet allies. It was mainly politically motivated rather than otherwise, but still a lot of Afghans took advantage of that opportunity and got education. Those who needed to learn something, even under those sort of environments, they helped themselves, and they are also contributing today to the well-being of our people. The private sector did not play a role in funding or running educational institutions, and there was no activity known as fundraising. It's only since 2002 that we have started to adopt the newer model. The transition from the older model to the new one has not been easy, nor always successful. With more than 10 years of experience under our wings now, it's time to take stock, evaluate the new experience, and adopt measures to assure better quality and higher standards. The government has a role to play as coordinator, policymaker, regulator, and facilitator. Others have their role to play. They are friends. We are all here because we believe in education. A proper education, whether religious, scientific, technical, or other. Not only is a good education the bedrock of society anywhere, but in our case, the bedrock of renewal, change, development, and even nation building. It starts with literacy and goes through phases that for some ends in specialization or advanced degrees. But education is more than just a degree. Like many others, I believe that it never ends and has multiple dimensions. Let's look at our own history in cultural context. According to the great poet and scholar Maulavi, as it's called, Rumi, who saw himself first and foremost as a teacher. Education also encompasses a spiritual awakening. The challenge of education, according to Maulana, is to harmonize man's inclination with his obligations. Education addresses both the intellect and the heart. Here, the spiritual discipline is tantamount to academic rigor. The concept of education encompasses virtues such as piety, justice, compassion, truthfulness, sincerity, patience, and courage. Ironically, it's through struggle that man realizes his potential by seeking self-improvement, also known as greater jihad. Ladies and gentlemen, in contemporary times, we have many examples of countries that have gone through war and devastation, or dealt with radical changes and have emerged as hard-working and productive nations. If you look at some of these countries like Japan, South Korea, India, Turkey, and others, you realize that they all share a common thread: emphasis on education and learning. Granted, Afghanistan, unfortunately, is a special case. It's a country that has gone through several phases of conflict. It's not yet post-conflict, but it has been busy with the help of our international friends to overcome the effects of war, destruction, and displacement. Part of the responsibility rests on our own shoulders, those in government. Security and every citizen's safety is our priority. Under the circumstances, we need a competent yet accountable system to improve conditions. It's equally important to keep the economy moving, investment flowing, productivity increase in order to create jobs and provide livelihoods. Then comes the political will to engage in meaningful reform across the board in an inclusive fashion where government, public, private, and other stakeholders come together to bring necessary changes and building upon what has already been achieved. I will just list a few items that we need to look at collectively to improve the overall quality of higher education, taking into consideration its correlations to secondary education. Curriculum review and revision as part of development based on countries' priorities in various sectors. Improving teacher qualification standards. Standardizing national accreditation norms before aiming to satisfy international benchmarks. Stressing on evaluation system and quality assurance that is standardized. Reducing disparity between public and private institutions. None of the above can be achieved easily unless we agree and adopt the following. Zero tolerance for discriminatory practices on the basis of gender, religion, economic standing, or creed. Student input as part of decision-making and reform process. Encourage critical thinking, academic rigor, and intellectual freedom in a mutual, respectful environment. Finally, unless we work together and we learn to establish processes and systems, we may end up repeating past errors and not getting the best results. My message to you, to all students across the country, is that you are an integral part of our human capital. It will be critical to stay focused, maintain your stamina and sense of purpose, to want to learn. Stand for what is right and prepare yourself for a better tomorrow, for yourself, your family, and society. Wishing you all the best and looking forward to our interactive sessions.
Thank you.